Hey everybody, it is On Screen Off Screen with episode 3. I'm excited you guys are back with us. We've got some interesting topics for you. Josh, let's get started with your first, I think it's a book.
It is a book. You can
You read
tell
a
because it
book.
says this book
Yay!
is extremely well written. It's The Teacher. This book is extremely well written and narrated. The narrating duo with a guy and a girl. Mostly the girl. The guy just reads the vocalized male parts.
Okay.
Everything else is from the female who did it. She does a great job. I have never felt more apathetic to a murder victim in my entire life.
That doesn't sound great.
I think it's a great thing.
Okay.
This book does something at the end of it that ruins everything in it, though.
That sucks.
The point of view is from 3 characters. You have an English teacher, his wife, the math teacher, and a high school student, 16-year-old Addie.
Addie, all right.
The teachers are super relatable in a bad relationship context, though the book opens with like how the 2 teachers are kind of just in the flow and how they're kind of irritated with each other, but they kind of just accept things as the way that they are. And it's extremely well written.
Okay.
The story progresses with Addie being bullied. The math teacher is having an affair because she's in this crappy relationship. Like at the very beginning, she talks about how, like on the surface, everything should be perfect because I have the perfect house and the perfect husband. But she doesn't really feel connected anymore. She doesn't feel that spark. So she's having an affair.
Okay.
The English teacher takes an interest in Addie because he sees that she's isolated, and it evolves into an affair between the 2 of them. So he's just a piece of shit, and this is the first time it's actually like confirmed, right? Up until this point, he is the guy who says the right things, but from the when you get the math teacher's points of view, it feels hollow. But like this is the first thing that he does is like outwardly like, yeah, this is a bad action because he's having an affair with his student who's 16 years old. The book does it multiple times. It says that they're in wherever they are, so the age of consent is 16, so it's technically legal, and it's stupid. But again, that's how good the writing is like that's the first time that like it's confirmed that he's a piece of crap, and the way he's portrayed in that instance is believable that it's like the first time,
Okay.
The English teacher, the math teacher finds them and takes a picture and plans to blackmail them. She says she wants a divorce. She wants him to stop teaching. She wants him to give her the house and the cars, and he needs to get lost, right? With her reasoning being that she doesn't want the backlash of being the person who was married to the pedophile. She just wants him out and gone. Addie finds out because one of the stipulations is they can't see each other anymore, the English teacher and Addie. So she gets upset, and in a very 16-year-old girl way, she's like, you're just taking our love away from us, and you just don't understand, and all that kind of stuff, and ends up hitting the math teacher with a frying pan.
Okay.
She thinks she killed the math teacher. The English teacher had been kicked out at this point, so she calls the English teacher, and he comes back. and he sends Addie out of the room for a minute, and it's revealed that uh, the teacher's still alive. So he sees this as his opportunity to blame Addie and kill her and keep his job, strangles her. And then Addie comes back into the room, and you get to see him kind of gaslight her into thinking she's hallucinating the hand marks on the neck, and that those were already there, and that she's definitely the killer. Um, they go to bury her in an old abandoned pumpkin patch. The English teacher ditches Addie there so that she gets caught in the area with the body. Um,
Okay.
we go to part 2 where you get the police investigation. So then instead of the teacher, you get the point of view of the detective. Uh, and the brilliant writing gets better. The small detail I forgot to mention was the English teacher guy loves poetry, particularly Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. And he and Addie actually kind of bond over this thing. And you have this brilliantly written him experiencing Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, because shoes, the math teacher loves shoes, and like shoes show up in his shower. Shoes are delivered to his front door. There's this tapping on the window and the door, but he can never see someone. A literal raven flies into his house and starts attacking some shoes, only for him to find bits of pumpkin on it. It is hauntingly beautifully written, honestly. The math teacher is trying to figure out who it is. It's then revealed that Addie was not the first student. At this point, you've kind of like, okay, he's probably done this kind of garbage before. But you find out that the student that it was is not the student you thought it was going to be. Basically, there's this like emo chick in the poetry class, and she kind of has these like moments where she reaches out to Addie to try and make friends. And so I kind of thought it was her. It turns out it was Addie's bully chick. She's the one, which was honestly a good surprise. Did not see it coming, but all the evidence was still there, and it was very well done. It gets to the point where the English teacher decides that the math teacher was the only one who could be responsible for him being haunted, i.e., the shoes showing up, the pumpkin stuff, the raven, all of that, which obvious. It's pretty obvious at that point. So he decides to go verify she's actually dead. She wasn't, and in a hauntingly beautiful part, the math teacher buries the English teacher alive like she had gone through. She goes through it. She has a moment where her and the guy she was cheating with kind of question whether or not to go through with it. They go through with it and kills the English teacher. And I had never felt more apathetic, like, go ahead and kill this guy. I don't even care. You don't even have to get in trouble for it. You can get away with murdering this guy, and I am okay. It was perfect, right? Right, Conlon? That's all great. That's all right. Yeah?
The ending sounds pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, wrong.
Yeah.
Because at the very end, literally the last sentence of the book, it is revealed that the math teacher was having an affair with Hudson, which is Addie's friend in high school.
Okay.
Her only friend. So her high and mighty speech about him being wrong for dating a high school student, her morality compass that you're rooting for, the reason you don't care that she got away with it is because she was, while not the best person, had her imperfections, was still morally and ethically aligned, right? And then they're like, yeah, no, never mind. She
That
was
is
full of it. She was full of shit. She did not believe a single word of that because she is doing the same exact thing that he was doing.
pretty hypocritical and
Yeah.
nasty.
Yeah. And so my question is like, why do mystery writers do this?
I don't know. It happens with horror too, where they have some interesting ideas and then they ruin it in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. Like you
I'm
could
with
have
them.
just tied up the book. You could just cut out that last sentence and it would be fine. The Couple Next Door, another mystery thing, thriller book that I was super into, was absolutely loving, thought it was fantastic. And, in that one, the main girl, you're just following her point of view. And she's trying to figure out whether or not she actually killed her own baby and just blocked it out, right? And it's
Yeah.
so well written, and you're like, holy crap, this is so good. And then in the last
Really
chapter,
over.
they turn her into a killer anyway.
Yep. Stupid.
It's the
That one's
same
one I
exact
had
thing.
read.
Why the crap do they do this stuff?
I don't know. Because they have to be edgy or something.
But you already did it. You already accomplished the edgy. You had great writing. You told a fantastic story with a great mystery, one that we could follow along and figure out. Like, beautifully written, Conlon. That's how I describe this. Hauntingly, beautifully written. And would I recommend this book? Yes, I would, because if you just cut out the last sentence, or probably the last page, it's probably more. The last page, the last paragraph, this last little minute detail, it's amazing.
I am surprised, to be honest. Like, very surprised. This book sounds like the type of trash that you would avoid with every aspect of your soul. Like, I'm shocked you kept reading this from what you just told me about the story, to be completely honest. Like, very, very
Why?
surprised. Because you hate cheating, and this sounds like just debauchery and garbage. Like, this
I
sounds
don't hate
very
cheating. I hate,
trashy.
like, cheating does happen, right? So
Okay.
if we take it out of context, right?
Yeah.
If we go to Big Bang Theory when Leonard cheats,
Yeah.
right? I don't like that because Leonard is a character who wouldn't cheat,
Okay.
right? And I hate how the moral of the cheating is okay,
Okay.
right?
Sounds like it with this one too. They hate each other, so it's okay that she's cheating. Even though, like,
But
if
they
you take
don't
the
excuse it. They don't say it's okay, right?
okay,
The book just ends. They don't say, right? Like, I am irritated that they revealed that this was that, but it's more like she's cheating because she's in an unhappy marriage, and
yeah,
that does happen,
that does happen.
right? It's not like they're trying to say the cheating is okay,
So it's the
right?
cheating is okay that makes you not like the cheating in stories because it seems like that's a
Yeah,
pretty common sentiment for you.
yeah, because it's so often, all the time, these shows are like, yeah, he cheated, but like, there's worse things. Yeah,
Okay,
he cheated, but like, he really loves me. He doesn't really love them. No, if they cheated on you, they're going to again. And if they cheated with you, they're going to cheat on you. That's just how it is. It's garbage. It's terrible. It is top tier, one of the worst things humans can do. And you shouldn't be excusing it.
I agree.
Like that's my problem. Is like in the Big Bang Theory, is it's one episode. And it's an unbelievable thing that a character does, and they brush over it and be like, yeah, but it's okay.
And this one still damns the not English teacher, the math teacher because she's cheating.
It doesn't answer that question.
Okay, just
Right?
avoid
Like
the
right, like
question.
I'm not rooting for the math teacher,
Okay,
right? I am okay with her killing the English teacher, because I hate him so much, but it doesn't mean I like her.
Are there any characters you do like?
I liked
It doesn't
Hudson
seem like
till the end.
anyone's likable. Okay, Hudson is likable.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay,
Right.
okay,
And there's a lot more, like, I have told you briefly what's going on. There's a lot
yeah.
more nuance to these characters and things that are going on. Like, the girl that's bullying Addie, who was with the teacher before her, like, she has this very humbling moment where she comes to Addie and is like, look, I know this is going on because I was there myself. I have to humble myself and we have to go and tell the investigator together so that I don't have to do it alone. Please be there for me, even though I don't deserve it. Right? You hate her all along because she's just a bully and she sucks. But then she humbles herself. Like the police investigator, it can see the truth, right? There's a moment where the police investigator goes to Addie and is like, look, I can't force you to admit this, but this is what I'm pretty sure is going on. And if you don't speak up, he is setting you up to be blamed. But for me to go along with that, you need to speak the truth, right? Like, there's
Hmm.
such good writing in this. And yeah, there's a lot of grossness, but it doesn't get explicit.
Okay.
So it doesn't go there. It kind of just says it happens, and that's the way it should be. Because it is an important element to the story, but they don't need to show the element of the story. So, um, yeah, if you're a mystery fan, this is a good one. It's just the ending that just, like I said, if you just take that ending away and the math teacher lady goes off and has to be on her own, right? It does say that she doesn't end up with the high school kid, right? She goes off, she leaves, right? You also find out that like she herself was at one point one of his victims,
Okay.
right? So like they all knew it was a perpetual thing, and like it builds off it, and it's great. Like this kind of stuff does happen, and it's terrible and it's horrible, and the writing for it is great, and like I don't I don't think it has cheating. That means it's a bad thing, so I can't do it. It's the let's
Lessons
try
taken
and
from that.
justify it so our two characters can be okay. It's like, no, those characters are not okay. That trust has been broken in a way that can never be rebuilt.
And do you think that are they both despicable people in the end? Like, is the math teacher a despicable human being?
Yeah,
Even with like without the Hudson thing, like you
no,
take out that last page, is she still a despicable human being?
no.
No. Okay.
She's not a
Okay.
likable person, right? She's way too obsessed with shoes. She has
Okay.
mountains of credit card debt. She treats
Okay.
her students like crap, even though she's a teacher. She's often jealous of other characters, right? She's not a perfect person. She's very flawed. Like I said, I don't root for her. I'm not
But
like,
you can
I
understand.
wasn't like, yeah, get away with it. I was like, if you get away with it, that's fine.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So what do you rate this book?
Generous 7,
Okay. Okay. Cool.
right? Like, the writing is great. The story is really good until the end, but like that ending is so just ruins everything for me that it
What
drags it
if
down a
you
notch.
take out the last page? What would you have rated the
Eight,
book? 8? Okay.
8.5, easy.
Okay.
Right? Like I cannot stress this enough. The section of the book at the beginning of part two, where the English teacher is experiencing the Raven firsthand, is brilliantly written. Right? Like it, the Raven is a poem,
Yeah.
and it gives a very specific feeling of eeriness and haunting.
That's
And this
great.
act, this writer does the same thing.
Very cool. Very cool.
It's very good for that.
I'm kind of hit and miss on the mystery novels, and this is not one that I probably want to read. But I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I'm sorry the last page was not up to your standard. They should have just got rid of it. That's a dumb idea. The Hudson thing was a dumb idea. That was stupid. That was not a smart thing to do,
They
and it
did what
didn't
they
didn't
did.
help the story in any way that I can see at all.
No, it didn't. It just hurt the story. Like I said, it just hurt it. Right? It took me from where I was like, if she gets away with it, fine. Now I'm like, no, she's a hypocrite. She's terrible. She should get caught. She should go rot in jail because
For
she's doing
being
the
a
same thing.
pedophile. Also, that's too bad. All right, that is The Teacher, guys. If you are into that kind of book, obviously Josh loved parts of it. You should give it a shot. Absolutely, you should give it a shot. All right, my topic is going to be This Is Us season 4. It is better than season 3. It just is. Um, Season 3 has the problem with Randall kind of being a whiny little bitch. And season 4 gets back to Randall being an interesting character and not being quite as whiny and having like goals and not just complaining about being black all the time. That's a major improvement. You have Jack and he's meeting Rebecca's parents, and he has this scene that's one of my favorite scenes in the whole season, where he doesn't have the money to be able to buy a suit, and he meets what's his name, the best friend, the Hispanic best friend. What is his name? Oh, 1 second, sorry. He meets Miguel for the first time, and Miguel is a guy who works at a suit shop. And Miguel says, "You know how important is this girl that you're meeting her parents?" She's like, "Man, I'm gonna marry this girl. This girl's everything." And he says, "We don't count inventory until Monday. Tuck in the tag into the sleeve and bring it back on Monday." And he's like, "Oh, thank you, brother. I appreciate you." And he has this meeting, and they're basically making fun of him for being low class the entire time. And he's stumbling around, and he's kind of nervous. And then he goes to the bathroom, and he looks himself in the mirror, and he can just like see the fight with himself. And he goes back out, and he talks about how he's loves the daughter, and how, you know what, I went to war, and out there, you guys can joke about war, but war was really real to me. I suffered a lot. It took a lot out of me, but it taught me about humanity. It taught me about who I am, and it taught me how I can love your daughter. And it was a great scene, great scene. Um, Even with these moments of respect, her parents still just look at him as not being good enough, and they just keep breaking him down. And Jack has this moment of fighting for Rebecca, and in turn, Rebecca has to fight for Jack because her family is never going to accept them, but she loves him, and she decides to fight for him. And it's a cool dynamic that they did inside of the show. Very well written, up there with like season 1, season 2 stuff, like really really good. You have in season 3 you have some negatives that really just drag down the show, and this one doesn't have the highs of season 1 and season 2, but it didn't have some of the negatives that really just are annoying in season 3. Um, so you're left with a better taste in your mouth overall. You see Randall, and he's moving over to Philadelphia, and he's dealing with some of the problems that come from Philadelphia because he goes from this rich white neighborhood that are pretty safe to an area where he's not safe. And Randall has these anxiety problems he's had since he was a kid, and somebody breaks into the house, and he has to deal with that. Somebody literally gets into his room while he's sleeping with his wife sleeping next to him and steals jewelry from the room that they are sleeping in. And he has to deal with that. And instead of just isolating like he normally does, he goes to Kevin and says, "You know what, Kevin, I'm not doing okay. I'm freaking out. he had a knife, and we were asleep, and he could have killed my wife. And he gets this security system. The security system is just alerting him and alerting him and alerting him, and the anxiety never turns off. But he doesn't come across as much as a victim as he does in season 3. He feels like he's a guy who's struggling but trying to hold it together and do the best that he can for his family. Um, it feels more like season 1 and season 2. You have Kate, and she has such a good story in this season, but she loses her dad and it goes to the teenage version of Kate, and she meets this guy, and for the first time in her life she has somebody who loves her. And if you study psychology, a lot of times if women lose their fathers, they kind of connect to some other male figure who loves them, who shows them some kind of compassion. That's a storyline that can be hard to present really well. They do a good job with Kate. Yes, he's doing little abusive things to her over and over and over again, but she kind of just waves it off. She loves me. The mom tries to talk to her about him. What are you talking about? Why won't you just leave me alone? You don't like him either. He loves me. He shows up late. He doesn't respect her time. He loves me. And it goes into this final moment where he is just absolutely terrible to Kate. Like horrible. And Kate's still trying to cover up for him, but the truth comes out. And the mom, who has lost her husband, steps into a role of the parent that she probably wouldn't normally have to take, the role of the protector, and has to protect Kate from this guy that has been abusing her. And it's great. It's extremely well written. And it really makes you feel for Kate. Makes you long to be able to help her and guide her when she's dealing with so much struggle. It's really good. There's a lot of aspects of season 4 that I loved, and they tied together to build the characters. Where season 3 felt like it was spinning its wheels a little bit. There's a part where Kevin goes and meets the uncle again, and he starts doing rehab with the uncle every single day. And he finds this woman who's going through a divorce and tries to help her get the guy back. And he's trying to help everybody around him, and including helping himself. He gets his year patch. He hasn't drank for a year. The ex that he lost, who he loved since he was like 10 years old, her mom dies. And instead of, I was kind of worried they were just going to have them cheat and it was going to be trash. It's not like that. It's respectful. It's a closing of a story. It's well written. There's this joke that they have, this inside joke where they never finished the movie. Which one was it? The one where, man, it's a really good movie. The one where you have the genius kid and he goes to the therapist, and the therapist breaks him down and helps him realize that he doesn't have to be so protective all the time. It's
Good
very
Will
famous.
Hunting.
Good Will Hunting. Good Will Hunting. They never finished Good Will Hunting. They watched the movie the night that they found out that Jack had died, and they kind of dealt with the pain by making an inside joke of figuring out different ways that that movie should have ended. And they've been doing this for years. And to end the relationship, they finally watched the movie together. They watched the ending. And it shows a on-screen version of ending this relationship, of being able to move forward. It's great writing. Um, I am going to watch season 5, and I'll probably report on that next week. But as long as season 5 is not a train wreck, I would recommend watching season 4. Like, highly recommend watching season 4. It's very good.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you
Yeah.
got something positive. You don't have a very common opinion, though.
Um, I don't. I didn't know that. I think season
No.
4 is great.
Uh, the common thread thought process is kind of like, season 3 is kind of where things decline.
I disagree. I think season 4 is a spark up from season 3. It's not as good as season 1 and season 2. They're still the best, but it's good. Season 4 is good.
Okay. Just based on your explanations of things, I am already kind of irritated on some plot issues, but
Like what?
that's okay. Like where they were the night that Jack died, that's already been established. So if they're changing it even for one character, I find that irritating. Uh,
They were at so what they do is they go to that cabin and they go to the party in the woods, right? And they're kind of like, this party's not that great. You want to watch a movie? And they start to watch the movie and they fall asleep. And that's when Kate comes over and wakes them up. That's what happens in the show.
it already established that's not what happened. Uh, they've already established some of those other things, and like, it's fine. I'm sure that I am misremembering, and there's probably some miscommunication mixed in there. I'm sure it's not as bad as everything, but there was like three things in your explanation, your synopsis, that I was like, well, that's taking back what they already said. That was already, and I was like, okay. Um, I've talked a lot with Lauren about it. She is very much on the, to my knowledge, she's very much on the, yeah, four is worse than three and five sucks the worst.
I've heard 5 is the worst season. And I've watched one episode, and that one episode is rough. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty bad. But season 4 I thought it was better than season 3. Like quite a bit better actually.
That's not a high bar, though.
Um so what would you rate season 1 and season 2?
8.5.
Okay. I would I might even give season 2 a 9. Maybe. Maybe. I really like season 2. Um season 1's probably 8.5. This season, high sevens. And season 3 was like a 7.3, right
Season
around there.
three was like a three.
I did
Season
not think season 3
was a
was
three.
3. I didn't think it was that low.
It absolutely was. At its best, it was boring. At its
Okay.
absolutely worst, they destroyed Jack as a character. They took a big old dookie on him. They took a big old dookie on Randall. They took a big old dookie on Kate. And they made Kevin slightly better.
I hater on it as you, obviously. I could see an argument for like a 6.5, but I think it's still above average TV. Absolutely.
I think you're only saying that because of how much you liked season one and two. Genuinely, what happened in season three that was so good?
Let me look at the episodes of season 3 real quick. I do like the Vietnam stuff, minus the felling of the that's my biggest problem is the felling of the brother because it should have been more extreme. Um I liked the Toby and Kate trying to get pregnant thing.
On the surface, on a grander scale, that was a well thought out thing, right? Like
Yeah.
them having to worry about the weight and how that impacts it and the cost of in vitro and if that's worth it and what the odds are and their age. I agree with you. But in reality, it was wah, wah, wah. Like, I genuinely think if you isolated season three into its very own show, you'd be like, okay, so there's a black guy who won't shut up about being black and adopted and is just playing a victim this entire time, but he's very rich and has an awesome wife.
Yeah. Well, Randall's the worst part of the show.
And then you
Season
have
3 by
Kate, and
far.
you're like,
By
okay,
far.
this is a great concept, but it turns into her just whining about her weight. And then you have a judgmental, terrible mother who's dating their dad's best friend. Uh, and you have Kevin, who was an actor who actually tries to be different. And you're like, okay, that is the best part about this show, but it was like 1/12 of the time I've spent with this show. Right? Without Kevin, it is a 1 out of 10.
Okay. I Yeah, I didn't have as big a problem with the Kate stuff as it sounds like you did. I did like the Kevin stuff. I liked them going to college. I even liked the Randall part of going to college. Um, Randall complaining was the worst part of the show.
But his complaining is the same as Kate. That's my point. Randall's is worse because it's not as valid, and we already saw him grow past that.
Because we
But
already saw
Kate's
him
is
grow
the
past that, and
same
he's a
victim whining approach to the
millionaire,
problem.
a black millionaire who has an awesome wife and an awesome family, but just can't get over the fact that he was adopted
Yeah,
to a great family who loves him a
yeah. But
lot
they don't understand because they're not black like
because
he
they're not
is.
black,
And they're not
and
adopted
he
like
had
he
to
is.
deal with all that. I do think they should show, like, if they're going to go with that route, they should have shown something that makes Randall feel like he's ever really been oppressed. But the only oppression that I can see from Randall is that he was an outsider because he's a nerdy kid. Like, there's that. I think it's in season 3. I kind of liked the episode actually, where they go back to the pool and Kevin is talking to the other two black kids and starts rapping, and Randall tries to pretend that he knows any of this stuff, but he doesn't care. So he becomes this outsider. I think that's a great episode. That's kind of like he's an outsider. He's not an outsider because he's black. He's an outsider because he's a smart guy who really cares about education. And when you're a kid, a lot of kids don't. Very different thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. But season 3 is a trash bucket. Like there are some good elements to it. There really are. The first part of the Vietnam stuff is very, very good.
I agree.
The latter half of it is terrible. I didn't like Kevin going to Vietnam part. Uh, thought that was a giant waste of time for his character and for me as a viewer. Uh, it's not good. Genuinely, like on its own, I only survived as long as I did in it
Because of
because
season
of
1 and
how
2.
much I loved season 1 and season 2.
Okay.
And if I hadn't grown to know these characters and love them, like season 3 would be an unwatchable, hot mess, garbage crapshoot. And that's
Okay.
being generous because I'm trying to say I didn't know these characters. Like I didn't know who Jack was, but they just crapped all over the character that he was, and I just cannot stand it.
Right. Then I'll watch season 4. I do think it's better. I genuinely think it's better than season 3. But if you hated season 3 that much, you can just be done with the show. That's totally fine.
Oh,
That's
I am
totally
done with the
fine.
show. I'm not gonna watch season 4. I don't even
Okay.
know if I'll ever watch season 1 and 2 again, honestly. But
Because of how bad season 3 was for you.
because of that, because Jack was ruined, right? It's the same thing as like Star Wars. You can't go back and watch A New Hope the same way anymore because of what The Last Jedi did. But also, it's just like it's already a very serious show to watch. You like have to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm gonna have to set aside time with it. I think they're like 40-minute episodes to watch this thing to
That's
just be
funny.
thinking like, well, this doesn't matter because they undo this growth immediately, and they ruin this character who was principled and honest and respectful and had strong family values. Oh wait, no, he doesn't. And so that's like I can still acknowledge I loved season 1 and 2. I can't deny it. It's just the idea of going back to it. Like maybe, But as of right now, where I'm sitting, it's like I don't have any motivation to go back and watch it.
Okay, that's fair, man. That's fair. I yeah, I didn't hate season 3 as much as you do, but I get why you do. Like what you're saying makes sense. And I enjoyed season 4. I really did. I enjoyed season 4.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad somebody did.
Me too.
Everything I've looked up is like season four is like the same as season three.
I yeah, I
And
genuinely just think it's better.
there are people that love the show and say it's just as good as season three, but to me that means it's just as bad as season three.
I I'm surprised that people say that because to me it's like clearly better. Um, but it might fall off again. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Well, Lauren, let me know if I'm misremembering. Let me know what your thoughts are. In this case, I think I'll trust her perspective a little bit more than yours, but
Rude. Why?
because she agrees with me about season three.
Oh, okay. Lauren, I would honestly like leave a comment. I'm genuinely curious if you thought it was worse, why you thought it was worse, because I can't think of any reasons that it would be, to be honest.
Because it sounds like the same thing is happening again, where they're undoing the growth that already happened so that they can try and re-show the growth that they already did.
That's one of the things that I liked about it is I felt like the growth was shown there. Like in other seasons, Randall, when he started panicking, would literally just shut up and curl in a ball and not talk to anybody and whine and blah
Until
blah
the
blah
end of
blah.
season two, when he worked on it and he figured out he can do it.
Sometimes you go and you have these negative moments and you go back to those negative thought patterns again. But in this one, it's a very quick, like one episode later, he's talking to Kevin and being like, I'm not okay. I'm struggling. Can you help me out? That's growth. That is character growth.
Okay.
Yeah. Kate is she's struggling with something with her mom. I actually can't remember what it was. And instead of just not talking to her mom and like getting huffy and like crossing her arms, she talks to her mom. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this raises a question.
Yeah.
Why are you okay with This Is Us characters reverting, but not Barney and How I Met Your Mother?
Um, because Barney went through the work already
Oh, really? Randall didn't? Kate didn't?
and showed literally no growth at all. None. Not even a little bit.
Randall didn't and Kate didn't?
I don't know about season 3. With Randall, he didn't show growth in season 3, and it bugs me. That's what I said. Kate, I don't know about. I'll think about it some more, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Randall
But
definitely
also,
didn't, and that's part of the reason why it bugs me.
if your perspective is they reverted and behaved poorly, but then later showed growth, for example, Randall uh, uh, showing growth, Barney does the same thing.
It annoys me in season 3. I just said that. It
I
annoys
know.
me in season 3
I know. I'm talking about season four. You're
because
saying the
in
growth is that Randall struggles and reverts again, but has the growth to the next day talk to Kevin. That's what Barney does.
no, he doesn't. What are
Yeah,
you
he
talking
does.
about?
The show ends with him growing and accepting that it was like,
He goes through years of not talking to anybody and just reverting to who he was before. Years. This isn't a
yeah.
day. This is
So,
years. Those are
so
completely
what?
different things.
The time frame
Completely different
doesn't
things.
matter.
Absolutely, it does.
No, it doesn't.
100% it does. Yes.
No, it doesn't.
I
No, it
realize
doesn't.
that I have this pattern and immediately I try to shift the pattern. It's very different than I realize I have this pattern. Never mind. I'm just going to ignore that and do what I've done before that I've literally gone through a million different times and I have changed fundamentally as a person. I also don't know. I don't think we've seen fundamental change, even in season 2 with Randall. We saw him broken to a point where he had to talk because he was so broken, but I don't think we've seen fundamental change.
That is ridiculous.
I don't think so.
The whole plot with his dad, the adopted girl, the relationship problems with his wife, they're all fundamental.
But
I need to think
he
differently.
he doesn't ask for help. Kevin comes and helps him. That is a very different thing than a fundamental change where he knows I just need to ask for help. Those aren't the same things.
Okay. Whatever.
But it's okay. Um anyway, let's go to our actually it looks like you have one more topic. What is
I
Storm of the
do.
Century?
This is based off of Stephen King. Storm of the Century is a 3-part made for TV movie.
Okay.
Um, I have a love hate relationship with this show
Okay.
movie. I don't know whether or not to call it a show or a movie because each episode of it is like an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay.
So in total, it's like 3 hours, which is a really long movie or 2 short movies. I don't know. Anyway, it came out in 1999. And for it being made for TV and 1999, it is extremely well made. All the special effects and everything done in it is great. The acting is phenomenal.
All right.
It's great. Uh, Basic premise, you have this island off the coast of Maine, and there is an incoming storm of the century where this island is cut off. It's got to be completely isolated. You can't have boats going between the mainland and the island. Uh, when a I'm going to call him vampire because I think that will make you more interested. A vampire shows up and kills this lady and then intentionally gets caught. So he is in a jail cell and he's using his vampire magic voodoo powers to have people commit suicide. And they leave the message, give me what I want and I'll go away. Right? But he doesn't ever say what he wants.
Okay.
And we follow the perspective of the town constable, the sheriff of the town, um, as he's discovering all of these things happening, dealing with them, and trying to figure out what the guy wants so that he can go away, or what are they going to do, X, Y, Z, whatever. Right? It's not the most horrifying thing ever. Like, there's no like jump scares. There's no like dark, creepy horror things, but it builds up the suspense phenomenally. Like, to put this in perspective, I was sitting here enjoying it on my couch. I watched an episode and then I turned on the second episode and I thought, you know what? I'm actually really tired. I'm going to go to bed and I'll finish this tomorrow.
Okay.
I got up, I went to bed, and then things got really good. And I stayed up and finished the whole thing. Uh, the suspense and like, what does he want? And it gets to the point where the whole town has to vote on what he wants and whether or not to give it to him or not. And it gets to the point where everybody in town except the constable says yes. So the constable is forced into giving him what this guy wants. The downside is they give him what he wants and he goes away. So it's not really like dealt with. We were talking about From earlier and how like we have to have enough information to kind of feel like it wouldn't proceed again. This is the opposite. This is definitely going to happen again. And in fact, the very end of it is like implying that the constable leaves the island. He's basically like, I can't live here anymore. I can't do this. I can't look at these people anymore after what just happened. So he leaves. He goes to Chicago, and he's like, and I never saw them again until the windstorm arrived, and then it shows him seeing the vampire again. Uh, so yeah, I love this show. It's so well made, but I'm not happy with the ending. There were some kind of slower parts. Like I said, I was like, okay, I'll get up, I'll go to bed. But then it got really good, so it got really interesting again. I think the idea is very interesting, where these people are stuck, isolated on this island,
Mhm.
and they have to kind of collectively make this moral decision. Um, and they have ethical questions of like, can we live with this happening? If we give it to him, can we look at each other afterwards? If we don't give him what he wants, he's going to kill us all. Do we actually believe what he can do? And honestly, like before it revealed that he saw the vampire again, there's a scene where his wife is in a therapy session and she's asked, "Hey, what? Walk me through what happened again." And she's telling the story like the vampire wasn't real. And I was sitting there like, this is going to be amazing because we're going to finish this show and we're going to have to ask ourselves the question of, did what we see really happen, or was that somebody stuck in a snowstorm dealing with a traumatic situation's response?
Hmm.
Like, did the constable create the villain in his mind, or was he really there?
That sounds cool.
And I was like, oh man, what an interesting way to, and then they showed it and I was like, okay. So they confirmed it was real.
Hmm.
I don't love that a lot, but I'm not like a I don't hate that either.
It's just not
You
as
know,
good as it could have been.
I don't know. Uh, this was brought into my life like 10 years ago. I was dating
Okay.
somebody, and her oldest sister found this show, and when okay, her mom watched this show with their oldest daughter like years before that and was so terrified by it that it was outlawed, could not watch it.
Okay.
And then 10 years ago, her sister found it again and was like, let's watch it. And like, I did not participate in it because I was not into horror at the time. But I remember them watching it and saying things like, oh, it's not as scary as I remember it being. And it's like, yeah, that kind of happens with horror movies with age. And like, yeah, you can tell that this is not a new show. I think if this was made today, it would be great because I'm looking at shows like From, and with the special effects that are like the opening scene of From, you have the grandma in the window turning into the monster, right? Like
Yeah.
if you had that quality of special effects when dealing with this vampire and when he shows his teeth and stuff, great. Like there's a scene where the power is going out, so the lights flicker, and the vampire's in jail, and this guy's tasked with watching him, and he sees with the lights flickering his eyes staying red. So you see flickering and like red eyes, and it is so effective. And like the rest of the show, it's like, man, if only you had that quality there. Like I could totally get behind this. Like I came out of this and I was thinking like the mountains of Utah in a snowstorm with a little tweak, right? But the same basic premise. I could totally get behind
That would be cool.
this premise. Like this could be so good. Um, I really enjoyed this one. Still, I think it's great. I think you should absolutely watch it. I think
Okay.
this is right up a Conlon alley. Like I think he's a vampire. If you look it up, most people call him a wizard, but like he's got the teeth and stuff, and
He's
like
a vampire.
he's a vampire. Um, you love vampires. Just think of him as a vampire, and it's a thriller horror thing. You love thriller horror,
I do.
and like I said, the acting is very good.
Okay. Okay.
You should
I
absolutely watch it.
yeah, I'll watch it. That sounds good to me. That sounds like a good movie. Like, yeah, I'll watch it. Cool. With that, guys, let's go to our last topic. Mav- Mavka? How do you say this?
Mavka.
Mavka? Yeah.
It's
Um,
Russian.
I overall enjoyed this movie. I think it's an extremely pretty movie. I think the animation is quite good. It's definitely more for kids. And it's not one of those movies that have adult themes so you can really enjoy it as an adult. It is very much a kids movie, but enjoyable enough as a kids movie. I have some friends who have daughters and I would recommend this movie to them because I think it's good enough to recommend to them for girls who are like 5 to 8 ish, probably somewhere in there. Um, the biggest thing I didn't like about the movie was the gay guy trope. I don't enjoy that trope where he's like, "Oh, there's underwear." Oh, it's just old clothes. It's terrible. There can't be old clothes. I find it tiresome. I don't enjoy that at all. Um, but other than that, everything else about it was pretty decent, and I thought the animation was great. There's the other trope that I kind of just wrote off because it's in all of these movies that are aimed at very young girls of having the bad girl that everybody listens to and she's the girl boss and she's just mean and she's usually blonde. It's fine. It's part of the trope of those movies. It's okay. It's like, is it the best? No. Is it terrible? No. And it ends up with a decent enough movie about a Romeo and Juliet type story where humans don't like these woodland spiritual creatures, and the spiritual creatures don't like the humans, and they both hate each other. And the main boy has the ability to play the flute, and the flute is very enticing to the main girl, who is a dryad type creature who lives in the woods. And the main boy goes out in the woods to fetch a leaf to be able to save his uncle. I think it was his uncle, maybe dad. Um, and they run into each other and they instantly start liking each other and they instantly connect with each other because it's a movie and that's what happens. Um, and he plays music for her, and the music gets added later into the story to be able to save her when she connects to some dark magic. It's all simple enough. It's all harmless enough. It's all enjoyable enough. Not a bad movie overall.
So, what would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10?
Generous 6
Okay.
is probably what I would do.
All right.
I would watch this like Rachel. I love her kids. It's Sydney's best friend. And if one of her daughters really wanted to watch this with me, I would watch it and I'd be totally fine. But would I choose to watch this again? No.
Would you choose to watch it with them?
Uh, maybe. I would actually lean towards yes. Actually,
Okay. So that would probably be more like a 6.5
probably
on
yeah.
my scale for you.
Probably yeah.
Okay.
If they wanted to watch it, it wasn't something where I'd be like, "You really should watch this, and we should really watch this together." I'd be like,
No,
"If this
but if
is
they're
your
like, hey, what
watch
should
it."
we watch? You wouldn't be like, oh, have you seen this?
Um, yes, I would, but there's other things I would go to first,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Like, this would be an option, but like I'd go to the How to Train Your Dragon TV show on Netflix way before this. There's a lot of things that I would go before this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if
Now,
one
on
of
my
them
scale, that
saw
would
a
probably be a
trailer
six
for
and a
this
half
and
for
they're like,
me.
"I just want to see this," I'd be like, "Okay, cool, let's watch it."
Okay. All right, my thoughts.
No.
There's no good reason I should know this, but the animation and writing reminds me of the Barbie movies.
Okay.
Like the way the characters walk, the way they're styled, uh, the writing in general. I am not the target audience for the Barbie movies, so I should not know that. Uh, I think the animation is very good at times. I think if you pause the movie at any point in time, it's gorgeous. It kind of feels more like when you pay the animators and not the writers to me. I think the story is pretty weak and shallow. Um, I think when there's actual movement between the characters, that's where I struggled with the animation the most. I actually rolled my eyes when the guy said the only magic humans have is love. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, really? You
It's a pretty
really
rough
just said
line.
that? Ugh. Um, Given that this was recommended to me via the same person who recommended From and like Red Shoes, I was surprised that it came with as highly recommended. Um, it's not the worst movie ever. The beginning of it reminded me of Sprite Fright, the Blender animation. I'll attach the description or the link in the description.
Yeah, I can see
And
that.
I was very hopeful for where this goes. I think there's enough like inklings of adult themes to make it enjoyable for adults, but they never explore them, which is kind of frustrating. Uh, I think More Time in the Oven could have done a lot for this show because I feel like the animation is there, the sound is there. I think the voice actors do a very good job. I just
I
think the
agree.
writing needed a little bit more work and the story to be a little bit more fleshed out, and it could have been way better. But I am glad it also wasn't super long. But for me, I would only watch this under the right circumstances. So I give it a 5.5 out of 10.
Okay. Okay. Would you like you, you probably have nieces. I think you have nieces. Would you
I've
recommend
got
it
lots
to
of
nieces?
nieces. Nope.
Oh, you wouldn't. Okay.
There is no circumstance that I would say, hey, have you seen this?
Really? You wouldn't I would be like if you're a 5, 6, 7 year old girl, you'll probably really enjoy this movie.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
There's too much stuff out there that I would recommend. And if they wanted to watch it or wanted to watch something, I would recommend re-watches of other stuff
Over this.
over this. And
Okay.
so, like, under the right circumstances, are I have it on my Plex, and my nieces really, really want to watch it.
Okay.
And even then, I would probably be like, okay, I'll turn it on and I'll be in the room, but like, I'm not going to be paying active attention to this
Show.
show because, like, it's very shallow, it's very surface, and like I said, the writing is very much not okay. Like, I point out that one line because it actually made me roll my eyes, but there's plenty of like awful cheesy
Lines.
lines in this show, and like the gay guy and his whole motivation is that he's promised a fashion store.
Yep.
I'm like, who is your market gonna be?
I have no
You're
idea.
in a town of farmers. Nobody's gonna buy your crap. Why do you want that? Why are you in this town for the first place? Like, if I think about it, there's so many issues. I gotta just be like, start picking this thing apart for its plot.
And
And
honestly, they probably like if we're gonna be realistic, these farmers would probably kill you
they wouldn't kill him.
or severely bully you
They would
severely.
bully him and pick on him, yeah, because he's different. But like, Yeah, like it really needed some more work, and I think this could have been a lot better. And like, I honestly cannot praise the animators and artists in this enough.
I think they're incredible. I was surprised that I saw in your notes there was a problem in the transitions and the movements. I disagree. I think the animation is very good in this. I even tried like pausing it and moving it to try to see what you're seeing. I don't. I think the animation is really good.
Have you seen the animation in a Barbie movie? That's what I'm talking
Uh,
about.
no, I haven't. I've never watched a Barbie movie.
Okay. It's not natural moving. The people don't move like humans move.
Okay.
It's very stiff, like they're made out of plastic.
It feels like claymation is kind of what I felt like it was like animated claymation, which has a
No,
stylistic
not that
aspect
at
to its
all.
own.
That's
You don't think
stylistic.
it did?
That's on purpose.
Okay. That's kind of what I
Right.
got with this one too, which
It's
I was
more
fine with.
like when a person moves, they bend their knee.
Yeah.
But the animators didn't bend the knee.
Okay.
They like moved like a Barbie moves, right? Like, I cannot stress that enough. It's like, hey, if you watched a Barbie movie and you were like, oh man, this animation, this is even better.
Okay. Okay.
It's not terrible. It's not a big problem. It did not impact my score on it at all.
Okay.
Right? It's more like when I pause this movie, I am amazed at how gorgeous it is with the colors and the lines and the artistic style. And when I'm watching it, I'm thinking about how much it reminds me of the Barbie movie animation because the people don't move naturally. They don't feel like people. They feel like Barbie and Ken. I hope that makes sense.
I think it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see
Just
where
look up a
I see
clip of a Barbie movie, and then watch a clip of this, and you'll be like, okay, he's got a
I
point,
get what you mean.
right?
Okay.
It doesn't, like I said, does not move it down on the scale for me. It also doesn't move it up for me. It's just kind of like a lot of great things with this animation. Like I said, the colors and the still frames are fantastic, but when the characters are moving, it's not stylistic. It's just a little too plastic.
Fair enough. All right, guys. That is going to be our episode. We appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Comment what you want us to watch. Do you agree with us about Mavka? Have you seen Storm of the Century? Like, have you read The Teacher? If you haven't, read it. And then, most importantly of all, is season 4 of This Is Us better than season 3? The answer is yes. We appreciate you guys.
Probably on a microscopic level. Bye.